And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford. Coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, I dropped it first for members only, and then it became wide everywhere else. My spoilerish thoughts on, of course, Captain America Brave New World. Did I like it? Did I not like it? Myself and TJ Johnson, one of my great pop culture friends, stops on by, and a Lakers fan, I will let you know. He stopped on by to go ahead and talk with me about what he thought and what I thought about Brave New World. And you can go ahead and check it out today, wherever you get your podcasts on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel. Plus, also as well, Joe Soros here. Go ahead. First off, if you need a new fighting game in your life, go ahead and head on over to Steam and get yourself some Corrupt. C-O-R-E. C-O-R-E-U-P-T on Steam. Corrupt right there for you. The indie fighting game of the year. Plus also as well, of course, he is the man behind his great company that he owns, Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com. Check it out. If you need a new lawn transformed into something much more magical than it is today, go to Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com. Also, our good friends, the Lakerholics crew. Appreciate them stopping by this past weekend. They were all four of them were there. It was great to see all four back together, talking about Luka, talking about the Lakers, talking about the playoffs, the All-Star break, and all that good stuff. Go ahead and check out what they're doing each and every day at Lakerholics.com. My good friend, Alfred Esmond, we're going to try and see if we can get him back on tomorrow, right around 6 p.m. Pacific. Hopefully. Keeping fingers crossed. He's been doing a lot of baseball work for the Baseball Network. He will be stopping on by for some NBA observations. I just had a great conversation on the Legends channel earlier today. He interviewed me for over an hour. He's usually on this show. He may be on tomorrow with us. So we'll go ahead and give a shout out to him and his great channel as well. I Got Next Sports Media. Of course, Empire Jeff TV covering the Dodgers and the Lakers. Fortunately, the Dodgers don't have the same issues as the Angels do with hearing that Mike Trout having to move to right field from center. That's so funny because, he says it's to save injury. So if he still gets injured for the entire season, like he has pretty much every season for the past few, there'll be no excuses there. He should have just been a designated hitter. But you know what? Jeff doesn't have to worry about that because he's got a full line of pitchers, a full line of hitters. He's got everything right there. Joe, too. They've got a full line of talent going there. I miss the old days in Vero Beach. I don't know about you, Joe. I don't know about you. I miss the old days in Vero Beach.
I think the tragedy is that Mike Trout's going to be our modern day Ernie Banks.
I agree.
It's really this is a part of baseball that has been not discussed enough in terms of why maybe it's not where it should be in terms of an audience.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have arguably the best baseball player on the planet for at least 5 to 6 years and not have him sniff a playoff run. He did get one in 14, but he wasn't the best baseball player at that point, arguably. But he definitely was from 15 to 2020. That's for sure.
And you had Ohtani on top of it as a chaser, and you still couldn't get things done. Sorry, Jamie.
Yeah, the owners should take blame for things like that. That is not a player issue. That is an owner issue. And maybe the leadership and the ownership needs to be reevaluated. But it is what it is. With all due respect, I don't give two craps about the Angels, so it doesn't affect me as much.
Unless he's traded to the Dodgers. There you go. But of course, it is Empire Jeff TV covering the Lakers and the Dodgers. Want to go ahead and wish him well as well. But go ahead and make sure you like all these different places and things and people. But make sure you also follow us as well by giving us that like and subscribe to help those Google, YouTube algorithm thingies to go ahead. They tell me that it's supposed to work when you like a whole bunch and when you subscribe a whole bunch. It gets people that don't know us to know us. So please help us out with that and become a member today. Not only have I dropped some stuff in advance for you, like our new intro for game time, we put that on the airways for members first. We put the pop culture cosmos, the latest, my thoughts on Brave New World. We put that on the air first, and also PC Multiverse, all that good stuff, and Lakers stuff as well. We put that stuff first for members, and that's just $2.99 a month. So you do go ahead and help us out right there for you at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. What's up, Aussie? Good day, my friend. Good day. That's my terrible Australian accent. Sorry about that, John. Didn't mean to insult your entire beautiful country. And I know also as well Xbox, who probably will just like to slap me upside my head for that. But it is, of course, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. We're back from the All-Star break. I took a couple days off. Listened to the guys. Chill out. I'm just going to say this out loud, Joe. You wondered, people wondered out there why I hated the All-Star weekend. And I think it was just this was a reaffirmation why the All-Star weekend is a mess. It needs to be just purged and removed. The players don't care. LeBron, which we'll talk about here in a second. Let's just go ahead and put that to the side, Joe. This presentation, I think, has to go down as one of the worst ever. I don't know how you guys got through it. I did other things. The Daytona 500 was spectacular as far as the finish, as it always is. I love the fact that there's all the crashes and stuff like that. And the guy that was in ninth on the last lap ended up getting to be first. It was a great thing. And he's a two-time back-to-back winner. I will say that, though, it was much more exciting than what was going on with the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah, these are the same guys that call the 90s players diluted. Oh, I'm sorry. That's our head coach that said that. No, these guys might be plumbers. Oh, wait. No, that was JJ Redick too. Yeah. Yeah, sure. I would love to see a starting lineup of Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan, John Stockton, and Karl Malone in an all-star game, even though those are West and East, but just pick 5 names that I remember from the 90s and see how they would play against those guys. They'd get run out of the gym, out of the town, and out of the state without hesitation. We'll never know, but I can, if you needed more proof at what a bunch of pussy-ass pansies the NBA player is today, it's you got some proof here. And there are exceptions, folks. There are always exceptions. Commend Victor Wembanyama. He was trying to play his hardest to make this relevant, and no one really paid attention to him. So we may need to. They may need to shift. They may need to. Yeah, when he is the king of the league, him and Luka and those guys who care about winning, they will maybe usher in a new wave here. But this particular wave, if I was Steph Curry, I would give them back the All-Star MVP, because it was a product of nonsense, a product of weakness, a product of disillusion, and Adam Silver unfortunately continues to degrade his tenure as commissioner of the NBA. It's not going well for Adam right now. He's not likely going to go anywhere, and I do like Adam Silver, but he has been horrible, really horrible the last 4 or 5 years handling the NBA and its personality.
I couldn't agree with you more. He wanted to win. I'll give, yes, they did try to circumvent him and Paul and what have you as far as the skills. They wanted to win. That desire to win is what's missing for the most part on All-Star Weekend. Mac McClung, congratulations to him, but seriously, these are not stars. Nobody cares that Mac McClung has won it 3 straight times. The guy can't even stick in the league, and he's winning time and time again. They have the great story with the G League team trying to go ahead and advance and play against the All-Star teams. And also, this team of rookie and second-year players was also true. Ultimately, Dalton Connect's team, by the way, he got robbed too. But don't get me started on that one. They were trying to match up against All-Stars. That's a great story and all, but no one cares about that. They're there to see All-Stars compete against each other in at least a semi-serious fashion, and they're not even doing that. They don't care. Why should we? And on top of everything else, Joe, LeBron decided to be a late scratch, so he prevented another All-Star or someone else getting an All-Star, which, depending on who they would have asked, might be something financially tied in. So somebody could have been out some money on that. And also, as well, it just sends another bad look that he does that. Now, we'll talk about as far as him with the Lakers going forward here in a couple days and what his status might be. But how bad of a look do you think that was for LeBron? Or do you, because some people were pissed off about it. I don't really actually care. Again, I can't stand All-Star Weekend anyways. But your thoughts on LeBron being a late scratch, probably knowing when he headed in that direction, he was going to do that in the first place.
Maybe he got there and realized what a shit show it was and decided, I'm not going to risk a torn ligament for this garbage. Looking at it from an objective standpoint, maybe you should have done a little bit of due diligence on what was going to happen really, and maybe, or do this. Kobe, I can't remember what year it was. Kobe was somewhat injured, went in for a play, and then got out. I would have done something like that if I was LeBron. But this All-Star Weekend thing continues to be very similar to how the NFL runs their halftime show at the Super Bowl. They're trying to be hip. They're trying to cling on to some young audience. Credibility is what hurts in society a lot. Credibility is so bad everywhere. The NBA is just a microcosm of that. Sports, everything in culture is kind of a microcosm of that. Is you have entitled, you have propped up lazy, stupid, weak morons. I'm talking all through entertainment. You have not allowed, and on top of that, not only have the ones that are quote unquote talented, you've also allowed no names, bums, scumbags, and that's mainly the public, to decide your fate. All that hard work that you do, training, playing sports, all that hard work, preparing for a role for a film, a TV show, a music performance, it's now dictated by some fat fuck at home or some stupid, insecure, stupid, trashy, whatever, saying a couple stuff that go viral online, and then that dictates exactly what the quality of that show is. This is your fault, world. You've allowed this to happen, and you've allowed it to affect you. I highly recommend you need to get past this and stop getting into your feelings and start doing what's right. What's right is quality. You cannot beat quality. Steve Martin said it best when they asked him about how do you get into Hollywood? How do you become an actor? Doing all this stuff. He says, you got to do so well that they can't ignore you. And I'm not talking about Kanye West ignore you either. That guy's a fucking whack job, even if it's premeditated. It doesn't do anything any good. You want to be the best? You want to put up a quality presentation? I highly recommend you go watch Victor Wembanyama. When Victor Wembanyama got made fun of by Jokic for reading a book before a game. Now, it's funny in terms of a joke, but I want you to look deep into that. Look what this guy's doing. He's trying to play hard. He's trying to do the right thing. This should be celebrated. This shouldn't be laughed at. You all want somebody good. You all want somebody that if you have a daughter, this guy would marry. Well, you have the guy, and this guy might be your number one guy. Time to embrace this guy. It's time to embrace this guy. As far as our boy, Luka Doncic, I'm sorry, Gerald. Is there something going on with Luka outside the court that's a problem? Is he hanging around liquor stores on the weekends? Is he creating havoc in nightclubs? Like, I'm trying to figure out what is going on with that. All I hear is he's out of shape, and all I see is first team All NBAs, Rookie of the Years, scoring titles, and finals appearances in a small window of time that he's been playing. So for me, you all need to start embracing those guys, because that's the future of this league. If you don't want to embrace Anthony Edwards because he's a clown, I can sort of understand that, but somebody needs to get into his ear as well and say, hey, look, it's time for you to get out of your Carmelo Anthony, the first 10-year mode, get into the Carmelo Anthony after the 10-year, where he really matured and kind of showed who he eventually became. Someone respectable, someone who respected things, wasn't as arrogant, wasn't as entitled. These are things that need to be discussed more, and these people need to be called out. They need to be called out on a daily in terms of representation. We cannot get into this paying attention to strangers online or anywhere else. That stuff's dictating everything now. I'm watching the Super Bowl, and I liked the song. I liked it, and I liked seeing Serena Williams dancing. That was kind of cool. I thought that was cool. I really did. But she's getting criticized for what? Like, if you're making fun of it, that's fine. It's a joke. You get it. There's stuff out there about it. But I don't understand this. Like, what used
to date Drake. That's why. It was just because the whole song and the whole concept of that whole performance was to finalize the feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. So Kendrick Lamar, on the largest platform you can have with over 120 million people watching, gave the absolute biggest facial, one of them in pop music history. And in doing so, decided to not only go ahead with this song, which is actually takes shots at, A minor and all that stuff. All that stuff lays into going ahead and taking continuous shots at Drake. The thing on top of it, including the fact that in the stands, they put game over in regards to the battle between both of them, to not only rub it in, you have his ex-girlfriend dancing in the middle of this whole performance to rub it in even further. This was all laid out, all planned out, and I don't think it could have been any better executed by Kendrick Lamar. You want to end a feud, Joe? That's how you end a feud, with one side clearly being the victor.
Okay, so I want to understand something here. This is the Super Bowl. You're in New Orleans. Half, if not more than 70% of that crowd are folks that have no idea who the hell Drake is, no idea who the hell this guy who's singing is. They know who Serena Williams is. She's a pretty transcendent person.
I think is pretty popular.
Why they boo then?
Why they boo?
Why were they booing? Yeah.
I don't know why. There's, again, online.
It's Kendrick Lamar. It has nothing to do with me. I'm talking about the crowd. Am I going to go into a country concert and start flash dancing?
They were booing Taylor Swift. So
okay, they're booing Taylor Swift because they're tired of seeing her on TV during a football game. I get that, makes a little bit more sense. But the thing is, everything is about destroying things with society, and this is the result. This is how you keep breeding all this garbage. Kendrick Lamar is a great performer. I like his music. I do.
Let me just say this, Joe. But that was a Joe Sorrell level feud between you and Sean. Let's just say that's a Joe Sorrell exclamation point. That's how you do it.
I get it. I get it. No one enjoys talking smack and doing that more than I. But there's a setting for that. I'm not going to do that at a bar mitzvah or a wedding. You know what I mean? There's a time and a place, and like I was saying, 60-70% of that crowd does not give two shits about Kendrick Lamar and what's going on with Drake. And for the record, Drake deserves all this because you don't call up children and say, I miss you. You don't tweet things like that to kids. I think he did that with the, what's her name? The, what's that show on Netflix? Stranger Things chick.
Yeah,
The
Billy
star.
Bobby Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was, there's tweets
Well, that's
of him.
again, that's part of the reason why the
Yeah.
A minor in his song is for A minor.
Yes, this is stuff that should be handled more direct than on a TV show or on a Super Bowl show. I think somebody needs to be in his face, like her dad, going, "What the fuck are you doing, messaging my kid?" Those things get nipped in the butt quick when you get to somebody's face and say, "What are you doing?" But we live in a world where, oh well, it's her life. I think she can handle it, or he can handle it. No, folks. No, there's things you don't let go. Okay, and I'll leave it at that because I don't want to veer too much to the left here off the exit. The going back to basketball, much like the Pro Bowl in the NFL. It's not just a basketball thing. You know, even the players in the NFL, that piece of shit commissioner in the NFL as well, and a lot of these two-faced owners, they've created this too. Don't blame just the players. They've all been a part of this laziness, this lack of quality, entitlement, and we're here to have to talk about it, waste our time. What has it been now? 22 minutes of talking about this trash. I really don't. I'm only talking about it because you brought it up. In all honesty, all I want to talk about is the next phase of the Laker run. I'm over the moon here still with what's happened in the last 2+ weeks, and I'm going to probably be on that cloud for a while. And the negativity coming towards Luka Doncic, man, whoever his people are, man, I hope they're sitting with them and going, Luka, you got to use this as fire, man. This has got to be that Atlantic City trip when the Bulls went down 0-2 against the Knicks in 1993. Everyone was on MJ. What were you doing in Atlantic City? What was going on in Atlantic City, Jordan? How come you're in Atlantic City when you had a game to play in New York? What's going on? What's going on? And then he dropped 4 straight in their ass on his way to a three-peat. That's the kind of stuff I want to talk about. And that was set in a basketball area, okay? It wasn't done at Wimbledon or the French Open in tennis. It was in basketball. I want to talk about basketball, and I'm more looking forward to Luka dropping shit on people's faces. Not literally, of course, figuratively, so that we can have something to really talk about when we come on a Lakers show and talk about Lakers versus whoever they're playing.
So before we get into possible ramification, by the way, Nick T, she's 20 now. She is married and she's 20 years old. Nick T, just wanted to clarify. She's
Nick, this was before she became an adult. This is when she was an adolescent,
17, 16,
below 18.
Yeah. But Nick, yeah, she's 20 at this point in time. You're about 7 years in the front. Yes. Yes. But I want to get back to LeBron.
Why did you say PDF? That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Be that as it may, your thoughts though, did it really make a difference to you? Again, the only thing that bothers me is if he knew probably when he went, he was probably not going to play. He's already played 20 straight years in the All-Star game. He has nothing left to prove. He probably knew that he was just going to say, okay, I'm just going to chill out and just watch it from the sidelines. I just think at that point in time, he might have done a disservice.
He did.
To someone else that could have gone in. Again, some of these contracts do have all-star bonuses and things of that nature, so it could have affected someone else.
He did. He did. It was wrong what he did. He should have, if he knew he was going to bow out, maybe he can say he didn't know until that day, and we're never going to know the difference. But if he knew before then, he should have said something, or at least played in the game, but just played a little bit and said, oh, I think I might have messed something up in my foot. LeBron has put himself in a position where he's damned if he does, or he's damned if he do. It doesn't matter anymore, and it doesn't really matter anyways. Look at Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift isn't telling anyone to put the camera on her during a game. She's there supporting her man. She's getting booed for something she's not even responsible for. What do you want her to do? Watch at home because your dumbass gets hurt that the camera goes to her? Yell at the NFL. Don't yell at her. She's not controlling the cameras. The producer in the booth is. So you get to a point when you're this famous and this known. At some point, look at what's happened to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes doesn't bother anyone, and everyone hates him now. Why? Because he wins a lot? You are a piece of fucking shit if you judge people off winning too much or being available all the time on TV or whatever. Dude, when you're the best, you're going to be sought after. And if that bothers you and you got to say shit about it, you're a scumbag piece of shit. And you should just stay in your room and don't talk to anybody. Don't go online. Don't yap. You're a piece of shit. If somebody's a scumbag, if somebody's doing something scummy, i.e., somebody like maybe Justin Tucker, we don't know that, right? It's alleged. But that one I can sort of understand. But if you're not doing anything, what the fuck are you complaining about? Why would you not like Patrick Mahomes? What has he ever done to you? What has he ever done? The whole thing with LeBron, we've talked about this with the decision. I still could not figure out why people were so mad, other than Cleveland Cavalier fans. Why, when he left, they were all mad. Well, he did the decision and he made a mockery of everything. Mockery of what? For who? Some asshole in Texas who's a Houston fan? Like, why do you give a shit? Why do you care in Houston as a Houston Rockets fan? If you're a Cleveland Cavalier fan, yeah, yeah, they had every right to be pissed off. But it's just like people try to find shit to just not like because they're upset about something or they're just jealous about something, right? So this whole thing, again, it's going to come down to, are you going to let scumbag, moron, idiots dictate who you are? And then at the same time, you got to balance the quality of things. So what LeBron should have done, should have played in the game. He should have just said, I'm going to play a little bit, or not even say anything. Play a little bit and then sit down. And if they come back, hey, LeBron, what happened during the game? He goes, I think I felt something in my foot. And I kind of started getting worried. Now you're going to get a lot of questions for that, right? Now everybody's going to get scared. Laker fans are going to start jumping off buildings and yapping about maybe you shouldn't have played in the All-Star game. You see, and then now you don't win again, right? If he doesn't play, you're going to be pissed. He plays, he gets hurt, you're going to get pissed. So which one is it? Pick one. You can't have both. And this is stuff that's not talked about enough. You got to figure it out. Common sense. You can't do both. You can't say you're humble and then do things where you're arrogant. It looks stupid. So I don't know what else to say. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to answer the question based off of not being a Laker fan. Because if I say who gives a shit, I'm being selfish because I'm a Laker fan. I'd rather him not take the chance to get hurt. But from a participation standpoint, he was picked by the fans to be a starter in the game. He should have went and played a little bit and then sat. Kobe did that. Everyone was okay with it. They understood he was injured. We all understand that happens sometimes, and you don't want to risk. He's got possibly 2 more chances at this, so it makes sense. It's okay to let Magic play after his diagnosis. It's okay for Michael to make the All-Star game the last 2 years, even though he wasn't technically an All-Star. He's Michael Jordan, damn it. He created this damn thing. So that's what this is for. But they at least just show up and play a little bit, and then you can probably sit down after that. At least that's what I would have. That's the one small thing I would have done that would have been different.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching us. Truly appreciate it. Big shout out to Chris, who's watching us from Knott's Berry Farm, Joe. It's awesome, man. We had Raphael telling us he was just back from Disneyland where he wore the Luka jersey, and he had everybody, just all giving him praise except for the one Mavs fan, which came up to him and bemoaned. That's classic. When he said that, that was awesome. But big shout out to Chris, who's right now at Knott's Berry Farm watching us. Truly appreciate it. Those
Hey,
are just
look,
great
anytime.
stories.
Hey, I'm gonna say this right now. Hey, you said it was Chris, right? Because I'm not looking at the.
No, Chris is at Knott's Berry Farm
So
now
Chris is
with the
at Knott's
kids.
Berry Farm hitting us up.
Yes.
Hey, Chris, that's baller status, man. Come on. I mean, that's pretty good. That's stuff we do. That's
Well,
stuff we do for our show.
Raphael was the one who went to Disneyland and sported the Luka jersey.
Hey, anytime you're in a place like that, like a game or an amusement park, somewhere where you're not home, relaxed, or just kind of sitting on a bench somewhere, maybe after dinner, that's pretty badass, guys. Thank you for you guys are thinking of us while you're at a place that's supposed to be fun. Like Knott's Berry Farm is a good place. Obviously, Disneyland's a good place. So hey, salute to everyone for that one. That's great.
Absolutely. And again, I know you're with the kids, but don't get caught on the sky tower thing that circles around that goes really high up in the air. I got stuck up there for 15 minutes.
Jeez.
Yes, that was scary.
Fuck that.
I hate the feeling, Joe. I hate the feeling. I don't mind it so much when you go up and down and whatnot, because you'll be coming back down to the ground on something solid very quickly.
Man,
but when you don't have anything, there's nothing but air. I hate that feeling for a long period of time. Oh no, it's starting to freak out, sweating up there. My son and I were just, we're freaking out. We got sick. They'll get you down in just a minute, sir. I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, that was just not too pleasant, Joe. Not too pleasant.
Yeah, never again if that happened. I'd be like, you guys are done. I'm never coming back. Turbulence on a plane, man. That changed my life. What was it? 10 years ago. It was over Missouri on a JetBlue flight to New York. That was when I went and saw Kobe at Barclay and at Madison Square Garden. My God, I felt like William Shatner in the Twilight Zone. I was the only one who was freaking out. Like I wasn't loud about it. I was just looking out the window. I just kept looking around like, is this normal? Like, what's going on? Like I've been on planes practically my whole life, but that changed my whole concept of turbulence and flights, and I've never been able to be normal after that. I've never been able to be normal on a plane. I'm always kind of like, and I'm not a drinker. Like I don't drink to relax. I drink socially. So I'm sitting in there, I'm feeling everything. And being on a roller coaster stuck in the air for 5-10 minutes, Jesus Christ. I don't even know what the hell I would do after that.
Bloodhound said he had an emergency landing once where the flap stopped working. That was scary. Yeah. Wow.
John Madden, it's time to do what John Madden used to do. Just stay in America. Ride a bus.
Jim Cornette of wrestling fame, he is a known despises flying because he's had so many terrible experiences flying that, yeah, he absolutely will not go on another plane again. And I can see why, because he's just had so many bad experiences himself. And it can be scary after an experience like that. I don't blame you a bit, Joe. But getting back to LeBron, and then we're going to get back to the Lakers here because I know you guys want to talk about that. I know Thameless is like, okay, guys, get with it. There's a point we're talking.
Q's right. Yeah, we're kind of veering off here. Let's talk basketball again.
Well, it's the dead time right now before the what's going to go on here on Wednesday, which is the Lakers having that extra game putting in that they missed over because due to the tragic California fires. They moved one of the games in front of their Portland game. So on Wednesday, they are the only game in action on Wednesday as they face off against the Charlotte Hornets. The question is, though, with Portland right behind it the next day and LeBron, he's been on the injury report with these issues now for weeks on end. Some of it, him being questionable, some of it saying, okay, well, is it really that bad of an issue? Is it not? My question to you is, I think at this point in time, do you see it as a growing concern for you? I have a feeling against the powerhouses known as Charlotte and Portland. I think they'll rest him at least once, if not twice. Your thoughts in regards to LeBron? Are you growing concerned about LeBron as far as his foot is concerned, and especially bad timing since Luka, who is not in the best of shape yet? I'm just going to say that as of now, but he's getting better. He's going to be given a little less as far as the minutes restriction. That's going to be taken off little by little. He's going to get better shape. Exactly. He still needs to get into the whole swing of things for the Lakers. The timing probably couldn't be that much worse in regards to the lingering problems with LeBron James and his foot and ankle.
Well, the issue is Portland is another team that the Lakers don't play well against on the road, no matter what era it is. They are going to be playing them on the end of a back-to-back, and Portland's been playing pretty well lately too. So I don't really know. I don't really know how that's going to play out. If you look at the statistics since the beginning of the century, other than a couple years, the Lakers seem to lose in Portland at least once. They've been fortunate to play Portland sometimes only 3 times and only once in Portland, so they've been able to escape without having to play them twice. But I was looking at some stats. I didn't get a chance to really dissect it like I did the Utah history, but I will. And they don't usually win in Portland both times during the year. If they play them twice, they usually lose one of those games. And this is kind of a recipe for disaster. You have a team that's kind of trying to get its legs under them with this new player who has a completely different game than the guy that they had before. And then they got to play Portland, who's been playing well, on a back-to-back. And we all know what's going to happen here. If the Lakers, I feel pretty confident that the Lakers are going to beat Charlotte. But if they lose to Portland, even Laker fans, are going to have a conniption fit. And all of a sudden, it's going to come down to more stories until the next game about how maybe the Lakers didn't make the right decision. And now we're going to have to sit here, roll our eyes, and discuss more nonsense.
People are always looking for stuff like that as far as points to pick out. Oh, look at that. See there? Just like we told you. I mean, in some cases with some of our audience who are still not in love with the Luka trade and continuing to ask us to try and justify the Luka trade. They're going to find anything that they can and nitpick at everything they can at this point in time. But it's clear Luka is still trying to get to that level of 100%, plus also acclimate himself into what JJ wants to do. And hopefully that JJ, if we know what he's been doing, I said before, his work ethic in taking this job. You could talk about what he said previously on his show all you want, and we will, and we have, and we'll continue to do so. And we even did it today. But no one can question the hard work he's brought into this job. So I'm assuming he spent a great deal of his time in this, 6 days off or whatnot, really examining how he can integrate Luka into this offense even more, Joe. And I think that this came at a good time, this break, so he could do just that. So coming out of it, while Luka is getting back into his top shape, whatever that may be, he will hopefully see the fruit of what the labor has been as far as getting an offense to work better around Luka at this point in time, Joe. So I'm curious to see what comes out of it on the other end of this All-Star break.
I think the hardest part of the transition is really going to be how you're going to protect. How are you going to protect the defense? That we can't. The Lakers cannot afford to have DFS and Gabe Vincent sitting anymore. That needs to stop. And I don't care who you're playing. I think if they had taken Utah seriously in that game by not having Gabe and DFS sitting, I think the Lakers would have had a chance to beat them. And they were missing free throws, which means their focus was off. Sometimes those games happen, but I can't help but say that the Lakers are not in a position to do that. They're not a 1 seed or even a 2 seed. You are tinkering between an area where 1 or 2 games might make a difference between home court in the first round and not. You cannot risk. And these
Because
are
right now they don't. Right
you
now
are
they
not,
don't.
yeah, and you got younger. You got considerably younger with that trade on top of it. I don't want to hear about mid-20s and late 20 players not having enough rest. That's bullshit. Okay? All these guys are in their 20s. A lot of them are not even in their 25 yet. So you all need to get ready and play, and you need to win games. You need to make sure you get one of them top 4 picks in the standings. Otherwise, you are toast. If you start this run on the road, you will lose quick again. You will lose quick again. The Lakers absolutely have to have home court in the first round. It might not even be enough to finish it off or get wherever they want to go, but you're going to have less of a chance if you don't do that. And that is a mentality. That's a mentality that needs to be instilled in this team. And that's just hard. It's hard to it's amazing that we have to discuss, this person needs to play basketball when that's their job. It's comical. You even have baseball players. I saw how many baseball players playing 155, 158, 159 games last year. What? You telling me that baseball is more difficult? Less difficult? I mean, you're playing basketball. You're not getting hit. You're not really getting hit like in football or in hockey. Lakers have to start really. They have 30 games now. They're 32-20. They have 30 games right now to make sure that they finish this season off at the least at 18-12. Win 50 games. I believe 50 games will clinch that 4th seed at the very least. They might need 52 though.
You guys are not. We're not arguing with you on Jordan. Yeah, I understand he played 82 games.
9 times, BC. He played 82 games 9 times.
Yeah.
Including the last year he played with the Wizards.
Yeah. We're never going to argue with you on that.
John Stockton's stats are pretty crazy, though.
Yeah.
Look at John Stockton's stats. It's pretty amazing.
One of the best abilities that you have as a player is your availability. And that's something that seems to be lost. And it's funny because whenever somebody does play 82 games in the season, it's like this great big thing where back in the day, it used to be something that was just, you're expected to do and you're expected to go ahead and be a part of. I understand we're not asking players to be the next Randy Smith, Joe. As you and I know, he was like the epitome of being there every single game, him and AC Green. But these guys, they seem to be.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, Randy Smith. Did you see it new? But anyways, I'm just saying at this point in time, these guys seem to be out for any reason, hangnail or anything like that. It just seems to be like the smallest things keeping these guys out of the lineups. I don't know how serious this ankle foot soreness is. I do know he has a lot of wear and tear and a lot of miles. I mean, when you play the amount of minutes LeBron has, you are going to feel it at some point in time. So I get it. I understand that. But still, when it comes down to it, I know the suggestion was made in the chat. A good suggestion is maybe have him sit out for a few games and see how it goes with Luka. Do you think Luka is ready to step in if that's the case?
I don't know. I don't know what Luka's got a. Luka and LeBron have positions that you can't just come in and okay, let's do this. It's a little easier if you have a big man, small man chemistry right out of the gate, i.e., Pau Gasol and Kobe and the Lakers in 2008 when he got traded to LA. Now that was to the extreme. Like he fit in like he'd been playing there for years. I'm not expecting that kind of effect, but even if I was expecting something, it's hard. You're talking about two ball handling greats that are going to have to feel this out. And then players are going to have to get used to Luka's ability to yo-yo, and they have to kind of work their timing on that. And what I mean by yo-yo is you don't really know what Luka's going to do. LeBron, you could see probably 2 or 3 seconds before he does what he does on what he's going to do. You don't know what Luka's going to do. You don't know if he's going to do a step back three. You don't know if he's going to go into the paint. You don't know if he's going to go to the hole. You don't know any of it. You can't see it. So they're going to have to get used to that. It's kind of like when Magic would throw a pass to certain players at the beginning of his career. You know, he'd hit guys on their heads because the guys aren't used to thinking, oh, he's going to get me the ball. They're probably thinking they need more space, more area to operate for him to get the ball, but he would get it to them in spots they probably would have never been used to. And when they got hit in the head by the ball, they started going, okay, I got to pay attention at least 2 or 3 seconds before I do my break just in case he gets the ball to me. So the team has to understand that. And LeBron is going to probably play more off ball because this team likely needs Luka to be kind of the 1A while LeBron can be the 1B. And where they'll help each other, especially LeBron, is now LeBron doesn't have to hold the entire offense in the big games where he gets taxed at the end of the game because he's going to have Luka. And Luka, people complaining about the issues with Luka and his health and all that. Well, the reason why Luka is probably getting hurt is the fact that he's shouldering every possession, game in and game out. And the deeper you get into the playoffs, that's more pressure, that's more time, that's more tiredness. There's a lot of stuff going on there. He needed a break. He needs breaks sometimes during the game to get himself much more healthy during the end of games. That's where LeBron will help Luka. That's the end game here. Pardon the pun. And everyone needs to understand that this is a process that might not get really figured out until after the season. Next year. They could compete, they could go on a run, but if it doesn't happen, everyone needs to understand that the Lakers still need something here to make this more viable. They do need a big. They're gonna need that guy. I'm not feeling comfortable with Jackson Hayes being a starter in the playoffs. I think that's going to be an area that gets exposed a lot. The only way they get out of that is if JJ somehow magically puts together some kind of defensive set where they're switching and they've got certain players that are handling their own. They're setting up well with bigs or non-bigs, or small ball, little big ball. It's a lot of stuff, man. I don't know if the Lakers have that kind of talent. And I don't know if JJ in his first season is going to have that kind of extension to his skill set yet.
Again, we don't know what's going to happen heading into the playoffs. Again, I spoke to Legend today, and I said I still hold by this. If Luka is right and LeBron is right going in the playoffs, they have a chance to win against anyone in a 7-game series. I didn't say they would win. I just said they have a chance. If those guys can go, if they go off if they start doing video game numbers like they have in previous playoff series, then all bets are off exactly who might win that type of series. But we'll see. Again, I agree with Joe that there are several deficiencies on this team that they need to address in the offseason, and they'll have to go from there. I know Thameless say, is there any notable big guys out there that can help? Right now, no. There's no one. There's nothing but stiffs out there. Let's just be quite frank. There's no one that can help us right now that the Lakers can get at this point in time. So this pretty much is the roster that it's going to be, unless there's some dramatic free agent that becomes available that gets bought out from another team here in the coming days. But there is actually has to be a deadline that has to happen. I don't know what the deadline is. I forgot what that is, but there is a deadline for when buyout players can still remain eligible for the playoffs. So you have to look towards that before all is said and done. So something may come up, but for right now, this team is for what it is. Yeah, Dwight Howard again. The typical Dwight Howard GZD. He's being nominated for Hall of Fame. GZD. He's retired. He's done. He is done. He's dancing with the stars. He's done. We appreciate you being on Twitch and just absolutely cannot thank you enough for stopping by and watching and keep on watching with us. Truly appreciate it. But Dwight Howard, he is as toast as coming out of the toaster. Yeah, he's done. Yeah. JaVale McGee ain't walking through that door. Dwight Howard ain't walking through that door. The Lakers have who they have right now. And again, it is what it is moving forward. Dwight Howard he's washed at this point in time. I mean, he has already been nominated for the Hall of Fame. I think at this point in time, we have to realize that it's just time to move on from guys like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. But again, GZD, you're not the only one that's saying it. Every day we get a Dwight Howard request each and every day on it. And it's just like at this point in time, that ship, I think, has certainly sailed, Joe. And you got to, I know you don't like answering it, but we answer it all the time because we got new people watching and they all say the same thing, Joe.
Dwight Howard was valuable for one series during the title run. People forget he was useless in Portland, useless in Houston, and useless in the finals. And he'd be useless here now. He's just not good enough, guys. He's got too many debilitating injuries, too old. You're talking about a guy that came into the league in 2004. It's 2025. Bigs generally don't last 21 seasons, especially guys that have back problems. The Lakers are in a position right now that a lot of us had no hope of even imagining they'd be in right now. And that is having a transcendent 25-year-old who's going to be 26 here in 11 days, transcendent superstar that the Lakers are going to be able to build around once LeBron leaves. If LeBron somehow next year and Luka can manage a title, or maybe this year with some freak way of making it happen, whatever, then it's gravy. But I'm looking at this from a different perspective. I was looking at a very scary window that was similar to what we saw after Kobe tore his Achilles. And that era of basketball was really bad, guys. It was so bad. 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018 were horrible, horrible times in basketball for the Lakers. It was having to sit there and tell yourself that losing is the only way you're going to get better. That is a very hard thing to do when you're addicted to winning, even as a spectator. The Lakers assured themselves, barring an injury, but common sense in those cases say, even if he did, look, they went after it. You can't control that kind of stuff. But I don't see that being a problem, honestly. So the Lakers assured themselves that they're not going to be a bottom dweller for a long time. And that feels really good. It really, really does. It reinvigorated the hope of being able to possibly tie the Celtics again here in the near future. Hopefully, if they don't win this year. And then having a star that, in my book, because it's hard. A lot of times it's hard to. Wembanyama is going to be a phenomenal, amazing player. But I don't really put perimeter guys in the big man category a lot of times. I've kind of talked about this in terms of greatest of all time. I compare it to pitchers and then everyday players. It's kind of like that. Everyday player versus the pitcher. But I saw, much like great centers, right? A pitcher can dictate a championship run. A pitcher can dictate everything, even though he's only playing every fifth day. It's the amazing thing about that sport. And that's while both positions are, every day in basketball, it's different when you're comparing big men to the perimeter guys. To me, perimeter guys have more control of a game because they still got to feed the big man. Jokic is the only hybrid that I've seen who was at full tilt, at the full capacity that I've ever seen a big man in terms of a center that has done what he's done. I got to see Arvydas Sabonis for a short amount of time. There was a little bit of Vlade. Vlade had a little bit of that, but not in this level. I never saw Bill Walton play, but I've seen footage of how amazing he was at UCLA and Portland, and even the year in '86 when he was in Boston. It's just different. It's a different position, even though it's the same court. So for me, I'm not afraid to say that Luka Doncic is going to be the best player in the NBA very soon here. And on top of that, he has that unique skill set that I've been saying over and over again since he's become a Laker. Because there's very few guys out there that can do it. Even the great ones, the ones that go to the Hall of Fame the first time out, won championships. Not everybody has that clutchness in them, and he does. And I feel very, very comfortable in saying this. The Lakers will build around Luka. They will give him what he wants, and there will be people that want to come play with Luka. That's a fact.
But there again, and as I said with Legend earlier today, I said that I'm not a LeBron hater. I'm not a LeBron stan. I'm just a LeBron. I speak the facts, whatever it is. And somebody said earlier in the chat, I think it was Enrique, who said, I want LeBron to be retired. Okay. So if he retired today, where are you going to find 25 points a game, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds a game? Shooting close to 40% from three. Where are you going to find that player? Because automatically you're just going to assume because it's the Lakers, they're going to find that player. Yes, I understand they've been very fortunate to find players like these or have players that want to come play with the Lakers. And with Luka being there, obviously it's going to be more attractive. But why not see what you can do to have LeBron still playing at an elite level alongside Luka and whoever else you get? Try to get LeBron to play ball with you guys and, pardon the pun, try to get him to maybe look at maybe signing a contract which will be of lower dollar value, so you're able to go ahead and do more in building a team around him. That's going to send a message. If LeBron this summer, Joe, decides to opt out, decides to sign another 1-and-1, but at a lower value, a much lower value, that will tell me all I need to know about how he felt about playing alongside AD and how he feels about playing alongside Luka. Because you guys are not going to get rid of him until he decides to go. Whoever wants him to retire, I respect that. I understand that. But still, he's going to go when he wants to go.
I think the focus needs to be on stop playing GM in your own heads and let things develop. I assumed after the draft that this team had no idea what the hell they were doing because there was a 3-year backlog of it. There was justification on it. Much like Dave Roberts' inability to call a damn game the right way. What I meant by the right way as in feeling what's going on. He did a 180 in the playoffs. And those who understand baseball understood where I went with it. Number one, in analytics, the analytics world, you never bunt. He bunted twice. He actually scored an important runs on the first one. You don't see that in analytics. They don't ever want you to bunt and give up outs. That was a huge surprise. Whoa, that went against the grain a little bit. Then 2 other instances, he left the pitcher in, which he's been notorious for taking pitchers out too early when they're dealing. He didn't do that twice. Both ended up being huge shifts in those games, in those series. I'm not saying he didn't screw up before. He did, but he made up. He finally stopped doing those mistakes, and it ended up winning a championship because of it. So Lakers management, same thing. They had made major mistakes for a while here. Mistakes that cost them titles. And they were going nowhere. They were worried about children and development when you're like, dude, why are you, if you're worried about development, why are you paying 2 guys to develop? I thought this was supposed to win championships. You have AD and LeBron. Well, I'm attributing this to maybe Jeannie said, look, I gave you guys a shot to help me do this. Now I got to do my own thing. A very Dr. Buss move by Jeannie Buss. And Rob Pelinka executed it. And Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss pulled the most Dr. Buss move that you could have made, if not probably even better. They've extended a likely 10-year window of Lakers being a competitive championship caliber team. If you are going to keep harping on the deficiencies of Luka Doncic and look us in the eyes and sit there and say that we haven't had players in our lives watching Laker basketball that were very good, MVP, Hall of Fame players whom weren't good in certain areas, well then I don't know what to tell you there. And I know where it's coming from, guys. You're allowing the stuff you're hearing online to affect your thoughts. I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to say it over and over and over again until it sticks. This is my duty for you. Stop listening to talking heads and morons online or on TV. Let the game dictate. You don't get 5-time first-team All-NBA players like you just did. Rookies of the year, scoring champions, constant threats like Luka is. Stop listening, even if they're ex-NBA players. Folks, inside the NBA, I don't watch inside the NBA like most people. I'll watch it if I happen to have it on TV. I usually don't watch halftime shows, pregame shows anymore. I don't have time, guys. I don't have time, and I don't want to have time. Okay? I got to pick my spots. I watch 82 NBA basketball games of my team. God knows how many other games, if I can, in the NBA. And then I'm about to get ready to watch 162 games. Not only 162 games of the Dodgers, I'm going to be watching every Cactus League game now. I'm actually going to be going to Arizona. Jeff and I are planning a show over there, probably. We'll see how it goes. So I don't have time to watch Shaq mumble and Chuck yap about shit that he hadn't even watched. I actually am not amused by the overall show anyways. I think it's kind of stupid. They're funny. There's funny things that they've done. I've laughed, sure. Shaq is a nice guy. He takes care of people. Chuck tells the truth in certain instances that makes sense. Again, a broken clock is right twice a day. But the other times, guys, I don't see the value of 2 numbskulls who don't even watch the games and them playing butt jokes all day before and during and after the show. I think it's kind of embarrassing, actually. It's embarrassing that that's the standard. I'm sorry. I prefer the Carl Ravages when they were doing baseball shows. I miss the Ahmad Rashad NBA shows. I miss your guy Mark, the guy that never ages, doing those NBA shows on ESPN. Like those are quality shows, man. Those were like it got to the meat of everything, and they were entertaining too. They were funny and they were engaged, and they actually watched, and there was a lot of class, there's a lot of quality in that. Now it's just slapdicks and assholes everywhere, just doing stupid shit. And they show a couple of clips on social media, and now we're supposed to be, that's supposed to be the standard. No, I'm sorry, I'm not. I don't care. I don't care. I want this thing needs to get better. Those guys have such huge influence. Force these guys in the NBA and Major League Baseball or NFL, or whatever, to enhance the sport. Troy Aikman has talked more this year than and he's always kind of hinting, but man, he has been critical even on the telecast about how the NFL has just been a freaking shit show with these calls. Then those kind of like the Troy Aikmans, like those guys have so much influence. There needs to be more to help that process. And in the NBA, more so than ever, because the biggest, most entitled assholes are in the NBA right now, even ahead of the NFL and Major League Baseball, because they get so much free money, so much guaranteed money. In baseball, you have to be good for a while before you get your big money. NFL, everything's evened out. So you got to kind of pick your spots, and you might only get one contract because of the injury issues and the longevity issue.
I'm just going to say this, Joe, again. We'll find out what's going on. I know, Zach, you want everybody to be there healthy, and you want to be everybody to play when the Lakers meet Denver, when they go to Denver on Saturday. I don't think you should take too much of the game because, again, Luka is just getting himself acclimated to the Lakers. LeBron, we don't know what his health status is at that point in time. I would, Joe, I don't want to take too much from it as far as when they, because I think already people are looking for that game and then the Dallas game right behind it as meaningful games. And Dallas doesn't have any big guys at this point in time. And again, Denver is the hottest team in the NBA right now. They've won 8 straight. They're looking like they will overtake Memphis at any day now for second place in the Western Conference. So, and all credit to Jokic, who is right now with me as a toss-up on with him and SGA. I know Jokic is your MVP at this point in time. I don't want to take too much from what happens on Saturday because, as you know, the Lakers with Luka, when he's right, will give Denver all that they can handle.
Yeah, he's known to do that. He's actually known to serve some nice plates against Portland. These guys are, when Luka is right, folks, those teams that we worry about are going to be worried. When Luka's right, might take him a minute, but when he's right, there's a threat now. As much as Anthony Davis is a threat down low when you get into the basket and his defense, I'm gonna tell you right now, man, they're more afraid of Luka than anybody else in this league. I don't know any player in the league other than maybe Jokic where people are afraid when he gets the ball. It's really Jokic and Luka when I see players in their panic. There's very few of them left, guys. There's very few players that inflict that kind of fear on the opponent. And it's really only Jokic and Luka. Not Giannis, not Jimmy Butler, not even Steph Curry anymore. LeBron, sure, he has a little bit of it, but not. They know they can wear him out at this point in his career, and it's the way it goes. You can't be LeBron from 5 years ago.
And I remember that you had said something about Luka and his negative record overall against Denver. Somebody pointed that out again in the chat. I know you had a good, I don't want to say comeback, but you had a good retort for that. And obviously, the first thing is he's now on the Lakers, so it should be completely different at this point in time. But you look at his numbers aren't half bad against Denver.
No, I said he played well against Denver.
Yeah, but I think somebody pointed out that he has a losing record. True, they do
Yeah,
have.
the losing record. Yeah, the losing record is an interesting concept on this because Kobe had a losing record against LeBron. Michael Jordan had a losing record against John Stockton, except for when it mattered, obviously. This is still a team game. This is still a team game, folks. And you also have to understand that the team record sometimes can skew your focus on timelines. Like, Luka came in 18, uh, 2018. Denver was coming up, so maybe they lost more games the first 2-3 years he was there. Maybe pay attention more to what was going on the last couple of years to put a nice barometer on it. When I would talk about Kobe's losing record against LeBron, uh, I'd have to explain to people. I go, well, look at the statistics when LeBron is covering LeBron. I'm sorry, when Kobe's covering LeBron versus when LeBron is covering Kobe, and you'll see a drastic difference in the comparison in terms of skill sets, at least in those categories. And then you also have to understand LeBron was winning at a time when Kobe was not. Injuries, and that plays a part in that. But people will want to use that as a reason, just like they do when they say, "Oh, well, he made it to this particular spot more than this guy, or he did this, or he did that." Whatever. It's a team game. Comparing players, I guess I'm probably going to look more towards how their individual performances are against those teams, because you can't. How are you going to gauge the team thing if Luka's playing with 3 or 4 other guys that aren't able to stay with a Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. or an Aaron Gordon or a Jokic? Some teams are just better. But I'm not. It's a narrative that people can mold into what they want to believe. If this had happened, this would happen. A lot of that kind of stuff, and we all get caught up in that. I do too. But you, like Bill Parr says, you are what you are. And I can sit there and say, if the Lakers had just not blown a 24-point lead against the Celtics in 2008 in Game 4, the Lakers would have tied that series, possibly taken a 3-2 lead going into Boston, and Kobe in a clinching game. There's really only maybe a couple guys, 2 other guys that maybe I'd go with besides Kobe to feel comfortable about closing that kind of a series. There has to be, the shift has to happen now, folks. The shift has to happen in your thoughts, and understanding that the Lakers have a budding superstar, already a superstar, who is young and will be the guy very, very soon, barring a catastrophe, which is an injury. I have to continue to say that because those things are not the same. Just because Greg Oden couldn't make it through because of injuries, in my book, doesn't make him a bust. His body just broke down. A bust is someone like Anthony Bennett, someone like that, who just sucked, unfortunately. But Laker fans need to be very, very happy right now. You have to be very happy and get ready for what's coming.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching. Truly appreciate it. No Joker, truly appreciate you giving us the super chat, $5 there. Again, if you, I know because you said you had issues, I guess, with blackouts. I don't know why we have blackouts in the world, at least in the United States, in the year 2025. It seems absolutely asinine and antiquated. But don't get me started on that. I will say this. If you want to avoid the blackouts, hop on over to the link I put in there, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. You join us. You jump on. I said to have up to 20. It's actually 15 because the regular panelists, they need their VIPs. But yes, I'll have about 15 VIPs that I have out that Playback gives me, so you can see what we see as far as the feed from inside the arena, and also the feed, the television feed as well. So you don't have to worry about blackouts. But the thing I ask you to do, if you want to do it, you get there early. I get you the VIP, but you have to stay with us online, because as soon as somebody leaves, you got to go to lunch and you get offline, or got to grab something to eat, or go to the restroom, or go somewhere, and you get off there. I have to give it somewhere else, because lately with Luka, we've had now a line of people coming across there as far as people wanted VIPs. So I do want to let you know that if you're on there, first come first serve, and if you stay on there, you'll have it VIP for the game right there for you. So hopefully you'll join us Wednesday for that. But thank you again, very kindly, for the super chat. But for our good friend and nemesisi, Kurt Affair, would you call it Kurt Affair nemesis? Nah, he's just such a good guy. He's always a joker for us as well. For him, I wanted to go ahead and put that on there, my friend. I know it says Dallas Mavericks. Just ignore that part up there on top. You see there, based off an actual picture when he was with the Mavericks, and Kobe actually had a Philadelphia stocking cap on. If you've not seen the actual picture in real life, they are making a mural in Los Angeles for Luka and Kobe. Your thoughts on that, my friend?
Another reminder.
Another reminder. He would have loved him being here.
Yeah, that cap was a Philly cap. The shirt, the hoodie he's wearing was the WNBA hoodie that sold out in 30 minutes when he was
The
wearing
orange
it.
one, yep.
And then Luka was wearing the gold jersey, but not without not purple writing. They might have done that for other reasons. Actually, no. I do know that they likely, because we live in a litigious world or country.
Litigious.
Yeah,
I think it's litigious.
Yes. We live in a litigious world where it's very, very likely that the person who drew this knew that those assholes would come after him and say, "Hey, you got to take that down." So by them creating that purple shirt with not really the logo of the WNBA not really clear, and then of course the yellow beanie instead of the green Eagles beanie, and then the Lakers jersey even with kind of a different
Luka
font and not really a swoosh. I had to explain this earlier today because everyone was like, "Wait, they got this wrong." I'm like, "You guys don't get it. You guys, they can't do it because these scumbags will come after him and tell him to take it down or pay him money."
There you go. Joe Soro mural is next. How about that?
Oh, I appreciate it.
He'll be yelling at someone, probably me or Sean. So there you go.
No, not at all. I don't. I hope I'm not on a mural because usually that means something bad happened. I'm fully content
In memoriam, Joe Soro.
I'm fully content on doing what I do here, yet not being too much out there too. It's Sean and I talked about this earlier too. I like to entertain, I like to do my thing, but I just don't want to deal with headaches either.
The thing is, though, Johnny DeRozan, let's say they find a pathway for him for the Lakers. He is 35 years old. It just, if you're deviating from a 40-year-old to a 35-year-old, the 40-year-old is actually more productive at this point in time than the 35-year-old, although he's still playing at a pretty good level. I just would like to see them have something more definitive in what they would go after, as far as players in the offseason, whether it's a center, whether it's a more defensive-minded guard, whether it's a third star, whatever. I just want them to be more definitive that that third star, whoever that would be, or whatever elite player, like the instance, for instance, the Williams trade, Joe. The idea is to have a player that was at young and be able to grow with the Lakers. Whoever the Lakers get, I don't want to see them continue to get older around Luka. I would like to have them have the foresight to get someone that is obviously talented, but it still has the ability to grow with Luka and evolve with Luka for the next 5, 7, 10 years?
Oh, well, to answer Joey Lynch's question, I thought this was a brilliant question.
Mhm.
Who do I like more, Shohei or Luka? Shohei's arrival, while the Dodgers were still could be a championship team without Shohei. They had won a championship without Shohei recently and competed very well, winning over 100 games too. It did mean something in the end though, because I still believe that Shohei probably set the stage for the win when it probably wouldn't have been a win. And what I'm talking about is the 3-run homer against the San Diego Padres in Game 1 of the NLDS. If Shohei does not hit that 3-run homer, and this is how baseball is all the time, it's always a play here and there that can dictate a run. But because it came from him in an area where a lot of times the Dodgers have kind of come up short, they were down 3-0 against a team that had already kind of played them down a lot this last year. And then they beat him in 2022 when the Dodgers should have won it all. That 3-run homer set the stage for what ended up being one of the greatest runs I've seen in baseball. Slide over to Luka and the Dodgers. I'm sorry, Luka and the Lakers. Luka has an even bigger impact because of how small those impact players are in the NBA. And the Lakers were staring at something very, very dark after LeBron. And now we don't have to worry about that. So to put an answer to this, I'm going to have to sell out and say that I like both this equally. Like my children. They're like my children. I like them equally because they're going to be just as important equally to their teams. Abraham. I really do. Although I think the Dodger one is a little bit more likely than the Laker one. But I feel like I've won already. Guys. I'm still in complete. I can't. My brain still is it's registered, but it's still sometimes I forget, and it kind of comes back again, and that's the cool part is you forget, then you realize I'll be online, I'll be doing something for work, and all of a sudden I'll get an alert or something on my phone, or if I'm looking at a sports site and then I see Luka in a 77, got Luka. I forget about that sometimes. See, and that's the thing, BC, is the Lakers and the Dodgers in their history. So the Lakers, their first year in professional basketball was in 1947, 46-47 season. Dodgers started in 1884. So if you fast forward to the 60s, where the Dodgers won a couple championships in that decade, I believe it was 1963 and 1965. The Lakers were losing to Boston in that decade. They never really had like that run together. Even in 55, when they won in Brooklyn, they weren't really in LA. So I don't know if you could really compare that in the 50s, because that's where the Minneapolis Lakers won most of their titles. So you don't even, fast forward to the 80s. You could say, Gerald, I mean, you remember the 80s pretty well. The Dodgers won more World Series in the 80s than any other team, but it was only 2. But they were pretty competitive that decade. And, of course, the Lakers were the dynasty in the 80s. So that was probably as close to having both teams do their thing. 88 was the year they both won. And then fast forward to 2020, I mean, those guys both won within a month apart because of how the schedule turned out because of COVID. And that was it. That was kind of like a one-off at that point, at least for now. But with Luka and Shohei, there is a legit chance that the two LA teams could have simultaneously ongoing like title runs here together. So yeah, it's very exciting, and we're gonna enjoy it.
I think if you could pry Duran, best league as far as the center, that would be interesting. Although
They
again,
tried to get Duran, guys.
Yeah,
They tried to get him, but Detroit wanted Detroit wanted more than what the Lakers probably wanted to give up.
And Detroit's on the come up, and they'll obviously want to retain their core. So I don't think that Duran will be gettable. Turner, again, great rim protector, great three-point shooter, terrible rebounder for a guy his height. His average as far as 6 or 7, I think, at best. So you would still need a rebounder alongside him in order to try and accentuate that. I would say Mitchell Robinson if he was actually healthy, but he can't stay on the floor. So if you get him for cheap, I mean, you could look down that road as far as a purely defensive-minded, great offensive rebounding machine. When he's in there, he's one of the best offensive rebounders statistically in the NBA. That would be something to look at. But again, he can't stay on the floor past 20 games. So, unless you were able to go ahead and get him for absolutely cheap, I would advise against that, or you have the same situation that you had with Mark Williams. So it's just, again, I want some time on it. I don't want to be like Laker Tom, who's already tweeting out there, his 5 perfect centers that he's got idea that would be perfect fits on the Lakers already. And I'm just like, we haven't even finished the season, Tom. Let's get into this when the season ends. Let's worry about the here and the now first. But that's Laker Tom. He's always doing stuff like that. But I mean, just off the top of my head, I mean, that's probably what I would want to go ahead and do. Someone in their mid or early to mid 20s that you think has still some upside to give, that can grow with Luka and play well off them, and what their strengths are. Like the lobs, like the whole 9 yards that we've seen him, be prospered of. And of course, LeBron's going to play as long as he wants to play. It be that as it may, LeBron obviously can work with a center like that as well. We've seen how effective he can be with centers like that roll to the rim, and how effective he can be with that. It's because you've got 2 great passers that can go ahead and work with a guy like that. So we'll see. Would it be great if you could also stretch the floor too? But that would be awesome. But I would rather have a defender and rebounder, rim runner, like a better, much better version of Jackson Hayes. That's 7 foot, athletic, and can do the things that you need him to do inside. So we'll see how that works, Joe. But I don't really want to talk about that as much now, because that's for another day. When we get into the offseason, those are going to get into some heavy conversations on where the Lakers can go and what direction go. There's still a season now that's upcoming here in about 2 days. On Wednesday, the Lakers go back at it. They're the only game on the schedule for Wednesday, with the game that was transplanted against Charlotte. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the Lakers can do in this, I don't want to call it the second half, but post-All-Star game, post-All-Star break schedule. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Lakers can do then, and Lakers can do with Luka getting back to what we know Luka can do.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple seasons here, Gerald. The LeBron factor will likely be part of this, at least for one more year after this. Where I think things can get very interesting is the offseason of 2027, which is the year after next year. You've got some notable names that could be available if they don't pick up their options. Now, the cynic in me, much like before the Luka trade, says that a lot of these guys are going to end up taking the Supermax deals if they are all NBA players, guys like Donovan Mitchell, Jokic, Giannis. But we have to keep it open at this point based off of what we've seen. I've seen it all. After the Luka trade, I've seen it all. So there's no more of this, oh, this is what's going to happen, or that will never happen. Anything is possible from here on out. So those days are gone. Oh, it won't happen discussion is probably never going to come out of my mouth unless it's saying something like, well, Chris Paul is not going to win a championship again. But even then is, well, what if he just hangs on to, what if he gets bought out and goes to Denver and Denver wins it all? Well, what if he gets bought out and goes to Boston and they win it all? Whatever, right? But the Lakers are going to have 2 off seasons no matter what, for sure. Just a matter of, is it going to be consecutive off seasons where they're going to build a Luka team? Will they go into that 2027 season or off season where there is a lot of talent that could be available? The Giannis, Michael Porters, Jokic, if they decide to not pick up their options. Will one of those guys see the opportunity to play with Luka in LA? Those are the questions that we're going to be asking. This team, and of course, is that going to mean that LeBron isn't coming back after 2026? That's going to play a big part in that too. I would like to think, based off what the Lakers have done here, that I think they're going to probably, unless they win it all in 2026, I'm pretty sure they're going to say, thank you, LeBron, for being here. We've appreciated your service. We're going to go another way. Based off the current contract.
I don't share that same confidence. I think LeBron leaves whenever he wants to leave at this point. And I think he's going to stay to Bryce.
He would have to. No, please stop talking about that.
I'm just telling you that.
This trade should have made everyone understand that now it's time to go to the next phase of this. We're not waiting for another lack. This is not. No. And I don't want Kyrie Irving on this team either. Kyrie Irving is done. Kyrie Irving, in my book, is still effective. But I've seen enough of Kyrie and Luka together.
He's going to get the cash in this summer with Dallas.
Good.
They have no choice but to throw the bank at him.
No, the Laker team needs to start focusing on after 2026 and building a team for Luka Doncic, putting at least 2 other players on this team that are going to mesh very, very well with him, and then build around those 3 guys. It doesn't necessarily need to be 2 superstars with him. At least 1 superstar and 1 dynamite player like that, or 2 really, really good dynamite type players. That's how that needs to play out. Because Luka is likely going to. I'm taking a guess here. Luka's likely, if he wants to get as much money as possible, he's probably going to do the 2+1 this summer, and then play out those 2 contracts, and then take the max in the summer of 2027. That's going to dictate a lot of things, but at the same time, the salary cap's going to go up considerably after this TV deal is finally through. So there'll be plenty of money for new people to come in, likely, or in some form of a trade. But I don't know how that's all going to play out. I got to see how the money structure ends up being.
What assets, and will they throw an extension at Luka?
Oh yeah,
how that plays out.
Well, there's no doubt. So the extension. Here, I had it written down here. So the way this is going to work is he signs a 2+1 extension that takes it to the 2028 season. Then he has a chance to opt out. Yeah, he opts out after that year, and then he can sign an extension for 5 years for $418 million. I'm sorry, I said 2027 before, so it's actually 2028. He gets a lot of his. He gets paid more money in this deal to what he was going to get paid on the extension with Dallas. The only issue is he's going to get less money because of taxes in California, which in turn I hope he's able to make up due to getting likely more endorsement deals between now and and when that contract is over.
Richard, if I think for any major player that the Lakers get in the offseason, they would have to add Austin in the mix. I think that's probably where we would have to go ahead and look at that. I mean,
well, the Lakers
he's a
will have $59 million this summer in expiring contracts, plus that. Mm-hmm. The Lakers are in a very good position to really, for all we know, they could end up putting together a damn good team this summer with their assets and their expiring contracts so that LeBron can get one more run next year, which is likely what they're going to try to do. Especially if LeBron can play. See, we need to see how this develops. We need to see how this comes together. You can't really make an assessment on what's needed until you see LeBron and Luka play together and how these guys play together. You'll be able to assess the next phase better that way. We don't know. It's going to be good in the end because they're both that good, but we don't know what parts to put in to make it better. That's going to be the part that we're going to have to wait and see.
Well, though, we will be seeing how it pans itself out. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all heads up. But yeah, Joe, it's been a good off time for us. Got our win back. Feels good to be talking about Lakers again. I know that the Dodgers are right around the corner.
You know how I know things are good? He's going to hate me saying this. Empire Jeff's doing more shorts for the Lakers. Go Lakers now. Mm-hmm. No, I was gonna mess with him a little bit, but I said, nah. Spring training is coming. It's already here, I should say, and then the games are coming here on Wednesday. But yeah, we're the only ones that stuck it out during the dark times a little bit here.
That's true, but we're here for you. We truly appreciate it. Johnny, why don't you ask for just like someone like Pokashevsky and be done with it? You're asking for every marginal 7-footer that's out there. Why don't you just ask for someone like him, or go deeper into the I guess the realms of centers and 7-footers who couldn't make it in the league, because I think you're just trolling at this point in time and not doing a good job of it. I mean, when you're asking for Kai Jones, when you're asking for guys like that, yeah, that's yeah.
Well, it goes to show you how unique the NBA star is. The levels are, the higher you go, the level gets even wider. The NBA player, the rotational NBA player, the 6 Man of the Year player, the starter, the really good player, the all-star. Then you have the perennials, and then you have the all-time greats. I mean, it's so many levels of basketball. There's so few guys that really, really, really impact and really, like, as good as Anthony Edwards is, as really good as Anthony Edwards is he's still not anywhere near what LeBron was when he was at his age, or what Luka is and what Jokic is. It's at least not yet. Maybe he will, but it's hard, guys. It really is hard. There's a focus that you have to have. Very few people have it.
No joker. We dropped Wood because we needed a roster spot in order, because the failed trade with Williams and all that. So we got Cam Reddish back, and I think the point is, and also connect. I guess the point is that Wood is been injured. He did have the knee surgery in the offseason shortly after mentioning to everybody this would be his vengeance tour and becoming his, vengeance as far as his resurgence as a basketball player. Well, something happened along the way where they found out he had some issues with his knees, and unfortunately, that's why he was waived, because Lakers just don't think he'll be healthy enough at any point in the season to really give them what they need. In regards to some of the other stuff that you guys were talking about there, yeah, absolutely. Just we're looking forward to seeing what's upcoming with the Lakers. I cannot wait. It just truly appreciate you supporting us when it's a slow time for the season. But Joe, many good things are on the way for the Lakers. We'll have one more night to discuss. I'll have some NBA observations, hopefully, with Legend and also as well with Alfred Esmond tomorrow. And then back at it on Wednesday, my friend. Back at it on Wednesday with the Lakers and the Charlotte Hornets. So yeah, we'll get to see
Yeah,
what's going
I'm
on
ready
there.
to I'm ready for the beef of the schedule. I'm kind of tired of the Charlottes and the Portlands and the Utahs. I'm ready for what's coming after the 22nd. Denver, Dallas, Mini, Clippers, even New Orleans to a degree, New York, Boston. Lakers are gonna start playing teams that are gonna wet their beaks a little with it to get an idea of what they're gonna be. More pressure, more focused on making sure that their arsenal is equipped instead of taking time off. I don't like this. I don't like this resting garbage. You've rested enough. There's 30 games now. Go after it. They've been playing really well in post All Star the last couple of years. This time they're not behind the eight ball. This time they actually have some momentum going forward. They're 12 games ahead of of 500. Let's see if they can go finish this out 18 and 12 at worst. I'd like to see 20 and 10, honestly, because I think 20 and 10 probably guarantees they get a top four seed. And that's my feel on this. Win 2 out of every 3 games that you play. And I think they're capable of doing it as long as the participants are there.
There was a mention in regards to the best place to put AR, and I'll add Rui in this context because you and I, for over a year now, over a season, we've talked about, before you get to that, about AR and Rui being best on a championship team off the bench. But the problem is, guys, right now, they've only got a year left in their contract after this one. And they are looking at 2020, what that would put them at 2026. Yeah, 2026 as their summer when they are going to cash in. So one thing is going to happen. One thing or another is going to happen. The Lakers are going to have to try and go ahead and trade them while they still have value because they have only 1 year left to do so. So maybe in the offseason that they're doing so, or they're going to have to try and do what they can to make do with what they have before those one or two walk out of here. I know both those guys probably do not want to come off the bench. I know it's the best place for them is to come off the bench as your 6 and 7 guys. Still, for what they want to do and what their long-term future is financially, they want to be starting, Joe, and they want to be playing as much as possible.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
that simple. It's their needs or the Lakers' needs. It's what it will come down to, and it will lead to probably one or both of them being traded at some point in time.
I'm not concerned about any of that anymore. The Lakers have a clear direction, and there's going to be discussions with Luka on what he wants, and that's how it should be. He is the ball handling star, much like LeBron. Who do you want, LeBron? They wouldn't got AD. Now they screwed up together in a panic. Something we have to continue to talk about because that ended up kind of putting a stake in their run. But learn from your mistakes. They did. This time you are getting the player that you want in a much better position. LeBron was 34 when he came to LA. You're talking about someone who's coming 9 years younger. My guys, just put that in your mind, guys. Put that in your head a little bit. You're getting a guy that's 9 years younger than what LeBron was in 2018. Yeah. Let's say you're I'd say the hate that you're going to be enduring as Laker fans is going to be immense as soon as they start winning championships again. And I want you to embrace it. And I want you to continue to stick that stake in everyone's side and let them know this is the LA Lakers. Even Laker fans doubted, but we got egg on our face, and we're not going to get egg on our face again. And to answer Natalia, man, I gotta hand it to you guys, all of you tonight. You guys have been asking some freaking awesome questions tonight.
Yes, agreed.
Seriously, this might be an all timer. Honestly, that is a freaking awesome question, Natalia. I've had that talk a few times, and I've talked for hours with friends of mine because I grew up around a lot of Chicago Bulls fans, and of course, 99% of them didn't know shit about their own team, but we would have drinks and cigars, and we'd start talking a little bit. And I go easy on guys if they're genuinely like curious or can hold a good conversation. But I would say the 87 MVP, as Jordan scored 3,000 points that year, and he was by far the best player in the NBA at that point. He might even been better even before, but for sure that year. But Magic went to another level in 87. That was arguably the greatest Laker team, even more so than 2001 and even more so than 1972. That might have been the best Laker team of all time, where they went 65-17 and pretty much controlled the West, and then went on to beat the Celtics in 6 games to win the first of what would be the back-to-back championship run. I would say 87 on criteria and the fact that Magic Johnson probably had his best season that year. He scored almost 24 points. He was a 1 point away from that, but he was still an assist machine and a team marvel. He ended up winning the assist title that year too on top of that. I'd say Magic was the MVP that year. The one that you could probably argue and say probably should have went to MJ was 1989. 1989, MJ dropped 32, 8, and 8 that year. Had almost 3 steals that season. He was ridiculously good that year. Now, I want you to imagine this. This is kind of a Dan Marino stat in the 80s. Dan Marino in 1984 threw for 5,000 yards and 48 touchdowns. That's like Wilt Chamberlain numbers in the 80s. Guys that do it now, it's kind of normal, right? Ben Roethlisberger did it twice. Drew Brees did it. A couple other guys, I think Matt Stafford did it. It because of the way the rules are with the NFL and the quarterback protection, it became more of a norm, the passing league, all that. Well, in the 80s, for Dan Marino to do that was he would have passed for 6,000 yards with that kind of skill set here. So Jordan, because we're enamored with Luka and Jokic and LeBron and all these guys, Westbrook, how they had near triple doubles for the season or near triple doubles, right? Jordan had 32 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds. This is a guy that they always say LeBron was a better passer, he's a better rebounder. Folks, I'm going to say this again. I've said it a million times. There's nothing that Michael Jordan would not have adapted to. If he had to get 32, 12, and 12, he would have done it. And still won. So imagine this, 1989, he was 32 points a game, won the scoring title, had 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and just a point off of 3 steals a game.
I was just going to say, even though his steals did decrease, it was still, like you said, almost 3 steals a game. And his assists and rebounds at 8 were his highest of his career by far, before or after.
Correct. So if there was one year where maybe you could have said Jordan should have won the MVP, was 1989 over Magic. Magic won it in 89 as well.
So you don't like it? You think the 86, even though he averaged 37 on that day and close to 5-5.
It would have been hard because Magic was so amazing in
He
1987.
he also averaged 3 steals then and a block and a half on that year in 86.
So Michael, the fact that a guard was getting at least a block and a half a game in some of those seasons, it goes to show you that just not human. It wasn't human. This guy played 40 minutes practically every game too. Played all. Jordan missed without his injury in the second year in the league. He missed one game. I think one game from his rookie year to
1991.
Till after his 1991 season, yeah.
He missed 2 games there and then missed 4 games the year after.
Yeah.
He didn't play in 93 and 94. 94 and 95, he only played 17 games there.
Yeah, he came in late on that one, but then
and still finished 11th
he didn't miss
in
a
MVP
game.
voting. Joe.
He didn't
finished
miss
11th. He finished 11th in MVP voting
in
and
17
only played
games.
17 games.
Yeah, he didn't miss a game. Not one game. The last three-peat he had. Yeah. So 1989, Natalia, I would say Magic got 87, but I think 89 he might have had an argument to get that one because that was his best season statistically in my book.
So JY is asking, is the best case scenario for the Lakers 18-12 record to position?
I could see that. I could see that happening. 18-12 to me. I think that's fair. I think that's fair for them to make that work.
Puts them right at 50.
Yeah. I had predicted 44 and being out of the playoffs.
Yeah. So you picked them 11th.
I picked them 11th to be out. Yeah.
Yeah. I picked them.
And 9th, if you look at the 11th seed right now, it's Phoenix, and they're 2 games below 500. And I heard something today on the radio, and it kind of turned on the light bulb in my head that maybe it might make sense. I think based off what he said might be true. I think San Antonio might not want to make the playoffs this year. I think they might want to get another lottery pick.
Well, it's looking more and more like it, Joe. They're already 3.5 games out. They're 6 games under 500 right now. Portland is not too far behind them. They could actually overtake them in the Western Conference, and that would put them 13th in the Western Conference, and that would not be good. But yeah, they still need more pieces, Joe. It's clear they, even with Fox there, they still need more pieces. I wouldn't even say otherwise. Phoenix is the one that I'm really laughing about because of their payroll and the situation they're in, Joe.
Yeah, Natalia, Kobe was robbed badly in 06. If you talk about an MVP, Kobe's not on that team. I think they might have won the lottery that year. That's how integral he was. You're talking about a guy that carried Smush Parker and Kwame Brown. Come on. He also got jobbed at 09 and 10 in my book. I'm sorry, LeBron. I know you won MVPs then, but the way the Lakers played in 09, the way Kobe hit 7 game winners in 2010, Kobe should have had 4 MVPs and was jobbed out of 3. 03, there was some discussion about him kind of maybe not getting enough in 03, but I have to admit that probably was Tim Duncan's best season, and that was until 14 came. I thought that was their best team ever for the Duncan era. But I guess Duncan at his full capacity, that was probably his best team ever. Shaq winning 1 MVP. I mean, it's these voters. They should just seriously. They all should just. Yeah. Bird, McHale, Parrish, best front line. I I don't think you could argue.
Maybe
As
that's a
far
tough
as
argument.
I don't think you could argue against that. Yeah, the '86 Celtics. The reason why they were so good is it hit. Sometimes you have that perfect year, just enough years under your belt, just enough luck with injuries, and then on top of that, you had a 6-man of the year in Bill Walton, whom I've attributed as probably one of the greatest team players you will ever see in any sport. That guy was ridiculously good, and he was communal. He was about the team. He was the most unselfish, one of the most unselfish superstars that you would ever see. We didn't see him at a longer line because of the fact that he just couldn't stay healthy. But it wasn't an accident that he had his last good season that year, and the Celtics lost one game in Boston that whole year and ended up winning the championship. In your opinion, is Dirk's title run the best of all time? It's the most. I'd say it was probably the most decorated run based off who he played. I mean, he beat Kobe on that run. He beat LeBron and the Heatettes on that run, and he was really the only superstar on that team. It was a superstar with a set of really good players. Jason Kidd was on that team, but he wasn't Jason Kidd of 2003, 2002. That wasn't MVP Jason Kidd. That was Gary Payton and winning a championship in 06 Jason Kidd. He was a notch below.
Eric says, who was the greatest team in the 90s and 2000s who never won an NBA title? I'd say the Kings of the early 2000s. That's
Indiana.
I'd say the Kings still.
Indiana should have won at least one. They had it in '98 for a 3-minute window. Just a 3-minute window. They had it in '98 in Game 7 against the Bulls in '98. They couldn't get that jump ball, and they couldn't recover. That was such a. I remember watching that game. Of course, I had picked the Bulls to win it. Each team had won their home games in that series, and I go, man, this like we were like, is this going to happen? And it would have been nice. It would have been nice if they had been able to pull that off, because Reggie would have got his title, and I think even Larry Bird's tenure as winning a championship as a coach and being a great player, he would have debunked that whole thing, at least for that year. That would have been kind of cool to see.
I think if the Kings built that team 3 years before the Lakers repeat or 3 years after the Lakers repeat, they would have at least won one, if not two, of those titles themselves. I think they were that good.
Well, saying that you if this and if that, I don't know. I don't really base not winning on that. The thing is,
they were the second best team of that era with the Lakers. They were the second best team in my opinion.
You have to look at it as they were playing against the best teams at that time, and saying if they weren't there, I don't know. I think that's a cop out.
I think the world champ. Well, I don't think it's a cop out, but I think it's at the NBA Finals were, for all intents and purposes, between Sacramento and the Lakers.
Cooper retired when 1990. Johnny, he retired right after their early exit against Phoenix in that run. Pat Riley's last year with the Lakers too.
I give you that, Thameless. Yeah, they were pretty stacked as well.
I think Indiana should have won championships in the 90s and 2000. 2004 with the whole that Artest situation and how good their teams were then. Yeah, they should have won a championship. I think Kings were really good. Really, honestly, they were really only good for a couple of years, whereas Indiana was good from 1994 through 2000. Like that decade, they were a threat, but they just couldn't get over the hump.
What player? Last one, Joe. What player deserved a title the most? Do you think it was AI?
No, AI didn't put in enough work for me to say he deserved it. And I hate to say that because I do like AI. I thought he was a phenomenal talent. but he didn't put in the work. Same with Tracy McGrady. They lived off their talent, and then once their talent ran out, they hit the skids quick. Who deserved the title? Honestly, I think like John Stockton and Malone deserved one. Those guys put in the work. You can say Reggie too. Yeah, you could say Reggie too to a degree, but my first thought is, man, that Stockton Malone thing, those guys, they did put in the work. They're in it, game in, game out. They were in shape. They were beasts. I'd say that was probably the one. Those are the ones that definitely deserved it, if you want to say deserved. Patrick Ewing is another guy that you could throw in there too. But Patrick Ewing, I heard a lot of bad stuff about Patrick Ewing lately, about how he handled himself. Yeah, I mean, Nash. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. There's a lot. But I don't know. Nash. I think Stockton and Malone's careers are different if they win a title. I think Nash would have been the same either way. I don't know necessarily if it's.
I agree with you on the Stockton Malone thing. I agree with you there. Yeah.
See where Patrick could have cemented another scenario there was they were up 2-0 against the Bulls. They had them in 93. You can't lose up 2-0. And they did. That could have been a whole different ball game if they pissed them off. The New York media New York media really screwed that one up. They really screwed that one up. They pissed off Michael Jordan talking about his trip to Atlantic City. Man, did he make them pay. Sean Kemp got lazy towards the end, Johnny. I wouldn't say he deserved it. Here's another thing, guys. I'm going to be very clear. I vividly remember everything during the 90s. There's a lot of exaggerated narratives during the 90s about who was good. Like, I'm talking like next level good. Guys, that Seattle team, other than that 1 year where they got lost to the Bulls, those guys really left a lot on the table. As good as Kemp was and GP were, they lost a lot of bad series. Losing to Denver when they were 1 seed, losing to the Lakers secondary team. They were not good enough to deserve to win, losing those series. Why I said Utah is because they whooped Shaq and Kobe for 2 straight seasons, even though it was younger Kobe. But the Lakers were stacked those 2 years. The 98, they were 61-21. They had 4 All-Stars on that team, and they got their ass handed to them by Utah. The only guy that made Utah mortal was Mr. Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Otherwise, Utah would have whooped anybody other than Michael that year.
I'll tell you what, my friend, definitely appreciate everyone out there giving us their thoughts.
I mean, I can't even give you enough props on how great these questions are. Absolutely phenomenal questions tonight. I could stay all day doing this.
But we'll be back for another day tomorrow. And then, of course, Wednesday action happens again with the Lakers and Charlotte. So looking forward to that on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break as well. But JY says 5 titles. I mean, guys, my bad for Duncan and Kobe, Joe and G, SMH.
Well, 5 titles is nice, but like most winners, we think about the losses.
Yes.
Duncan was a bad substitution by Pop in Game 6 away from going 6-0. How different would Duncan's career be if he ended up going 6-0 in the finals? I know Duncan's had an illustrious career, but guys, there's a reason why Jordan is so pumped up on top. It's because of the big stage. He never failed there. And Kobe, unfortunately for Kobe, regardless of what was going on and what happened, He was favored in both 04 and 2008. He should have won those finals. If he does, his career is different too. Imagine that, even bigger. Imagine Kobe going 7-0 in the finals, having 2 3-peats. One of those is 4 out of 5. Probably have at least 1 or 2 more finals MVPs. The Lakers pass the Celtics. He beats the Celtics twice. It changes a narrative and into a completely out of this world thing. It matters. That game matters. That series matters. It really, really does. It changes the whole. 5 is great, but losing sucks more than winning feels good. And losing in it's just different, man. Losing in the Western Conference Finals, losing in the second round, losing in the first round, it's just not the same, guys. Losing in the finals, losing a Super Bowl, losing in the World Series is so much worse. At least for me. At least for me. I can't stand it.
Great questions again. Truly appreciate you doing so. Truly appreciate all the love and support that you guys have given us. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Please like and subscribe. And if you have a Lakers fan or an NBA fan out there, go ahead and give them a shout out about us and let them know that.
Well, BC, the Celtics were taken to 7 games against Atlanta in that first playoff run. Mike Bibby was on that team. And then they went 7 against LeBron, and only LeBron when he was in Cleveland. Then they went 6 against Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals. They almost virtually played every game to get to the finals. And that was the best offensive Laker team I had ever seen in 08. They were a scoring machine. But the problem was they didn't have the it factor players. Like Ariza was sort of there, but he was injured. And then Bynum was out. So you didn't have the size up front. They beat up Powell pretty good in the 08 finals. If Bynum had played in that finals, I actually think the Lakers would have won that title because they would have had enough muscle to kind of combat Perkins and KG.
Well, with that, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. We'll be on tomorrow. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, Joe, I couldn't imagine losing to the Yankees. Sorry. But you know what, Joe? I was very confident that the Dodgers were going to beat the Yankees. I had no concern. I really didn't. I did get nervous a few times, but wasn't really nervous. I was just like, can we just get this thing done? Because once Freddie hit that grand game 2 and 3, and the only reason why they won game 4 is because we threw out our AAA pitchers. And they thought they were going to do something, and then of course we saw what happened in game 5. And boy, what a way to win in New York, watching them collapse.
And hopefully there will be a repeat in store coming up
Yes.
this season for the Dodgers, as Joe will hopefully be able to correlate on his upcoming channel. That will be happy to go ahead and work.
I've been coming to an understanding that I might not be able to use certain things. I mean, I can use them in segments of things, but not the official name because I'm worried about future copyright, trademark BS. There'll still be a Dodgers Fast Pitch, but it might not be a channel name because I don't want to risk those guys coming at me. I'm a controversial type. I'm not going to be Lakers Nation, where I'm kind of in cahoots with them. Dodgers Nation also. So I have to still think about what I'm going to do there and make sure that they can't attack me later. But the Dodgers Fast Pitch will be a show. It will be a show in the show. It's just the name is too good.
All right. And with that, we will see you tomorrow for some NBA observations. And don't forget, Wednesday, we will be back to give you guys all the love you need as far as the Charlotte Hornets and the Lakers doing battle to start up the next post All-Star break challenge for the Lakers as far as the schedule. The final 30 games. The Lakers are 32-20, fifth place in the Western Conference. We'll see if they can go ahead and climb up the ladder even more. But we'll go ahead and tell you what, we'll get that going for you. But again, Joe, just appreciate you and everyone else stopping by. We'll be back for more observations tomorrow and also more basketball thoughts tomorrow from your friends right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.